Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's talk about bears. Specifically, one that escaped from the zoo. You know how we do. It's Caveman News, episode 72. Alright, it took me a second to get acclimated to the new setup. Uh, uh, our lovely network, the beautiful people at Cave TV have set me up in a new studio. Soy Chorizo says she's at the flumes. Okay, I need to turn the mic up. Alright. Oh shit. I'm getting like that, God, I can't remember the name, but you know what it is. Let me know if that's too much. It sounds way too much in my headphones, but first things first, I need to remove this coat. This is such a wild setup that the Cave TV, the beautiful people at Cave TV have me in now. And I lost my glow. I put them down on the keyboard. Of course I did. Let's get started. What does Soy Teresa say? Councilman Eric Mays type volume for a minute there. That's what I was trying to think. I was like, Eric something. I could not remember the name. Thank you, everybody. It's beautiful to see you all here. I mean, I'm not really seeing you. I'm just seeing the things you say in the chat, and in a way, that works for me. It's just kind of beautiful, 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 beautiful. So, alright. This episode is jam-packed. There's so much to do. I feel like I hate doing this, but I got to turn down just a little bit. It sounds like I'm rocketing my own ears off. Cobra just ran off. There must be some commotion here in the studio. Let's just start this show. Do I have a start this show button? I bet I do.
If I was in the chat, I would be saying start the show.
I know you would.
Start the show.
Okay. Boots off for Barry. Oh, see? That's a great thing that I've made that the automated picture of Barrett showing up, so I know that it is time to remove my shoes. It's time to get down to business. I'm excited to talk about bears. Specifically, as I mentioned in my opening rhyme, one bear in specific. A bear that is dear to all of our hearts. Let's start things off right off the bat. Oh, I didn't need to bleep. Okay, this is January 8th, 1999. So Teresa says, sorry I had to speed over to the studio to hit the start the show button. Didn't mean to alert Cobra. Oh my gosh. Cobra. It's his birthday next week. For all who celebrate, it is Cobra's birthday next week. I just got his birthday present mostly secured. I have one thing I have to get to finish it off, but he is going to be 2 years old and so mature, and I think with the age will come the maturity, and he's going to stop attacking me so much. but even if he doesn't, he's still cute. Sometimes I need to be attacked. This is how it is. Brother Binks, I see. Okay, that's a bear. Alright, had to get close, had to see. Like I'm saying, this is January 8th, 1999. Where were you that day? Cobra does like the finer things in life. I didn't recognize him as a Taurus. I just know that in the year 2023, he was born on Mother's Day. What the hell? I don't know. He really wants to go into that room, so I need to open it so that he has access to that room. I don't know why he's obsessed with that room. He loves prosciutto and strawberry ice cream. Okay, absolutely. I feel like, once again, I have fallen prey to not starting the show right away, which is very bad because we have so much to get to this episode. I feel like I'm going to have to speed through to get everything in an hour. Did I? Oh, I didn't even start my timer. Okay. Got my hour timer going, so I will not get distracted. January 8th, 1999. The boss goes for a stroll. That's not a great picture. I can't see it too well. I'm sure that you can't either. New bear at local zoo escapes, keeps cops busy for hours. Well, in a sense, I'm whoa, hang on. Maggie ran down the hill and ended up on 8th Street by the high school. Jeez. I don't see. Hang on, I'm going to have to scroll up on the chat. I have to see what this question that Baxter asked was. Is it El Patron or Maggie? Which bear? Okay. It is in a sense we should be talking about everything bears, but really tonight we're focused on one man, El Patron. He is the bear of the hour, and he's too sweet to be sour, and all of this. He escaped and kept cops busy for hours, which is a good thing, maybe. Maybe they shouldn't have been doing whatever they do. And there's a picture of El Patron. That picture I showed up right off the top was not the greatest. I couldn't see it too well. Wait, hang on. Baxter says Dr. Heinrich shot Maggie with a tranquilizer gun? Okay. I can't get bogged down about that. I was not aware of Maggie, and it makes me think that possibly we're going to have to revisit to hear more about Maggie. But tonight, as I say, the man of the hour is El Patron. And I want to learn more about him. Carlsbad. 10-year-old El Patron, Spanish for the boss, I knew that. A 265-pound black bear is cooling his heels, and I think that's spelled incorrectly. See, with this new setup, I have nowhere to... Oh, that looks cool. I forgot I need to turn off my effect there. Okay. Alright. But, see, with this new studio setup, I can touch the camera with my index cards, and so I hadn't really figured out exactly largest large sloths lemur says, I think it's cool that you're getting into this bear's story. Too many people care about boring humans more than interesting individuals of other species. 100% agree. Soy Jesus says we hate boring humans. We do. We are here to praise and learn about El Patron. And as I said, I can't really throw my. Oh, I wasn't even done with that card yet. It has been brought to my attention that I need to start putting the one clipping per index card, so I'm not like having to read two index cards for one clipping and stuff. And in the future, I plan to start doing that anyway. I said, yeah, okay. He's cooling his heels. And this is. Oh my gosh. Hang on. I got way off track. They go in the boozoo. Absolutely. Gosh, I completely forgot. I have the physical boozoo right here. Let me see. I do have a thumbtack. Let's hang this up. I think I have it. I can feel it. Okay. Let's get our boozoo stationed. Okay, the boozoo as now reads Myrtle Beach, the Carlsbad Tavern. I think that's in Flagstaff. Sheriff Dave Kemp, of course. People who doubt Doc Noss. They're in the boozoo. And Nowhere Street Fools. And the U.S. government. That is our boozoo so far. For those keeping track. Okay, yeah. Wait, hang on. I'm confused. Alright. So he's cooling his heels in solitary confinement at the Living Desert Zoo and Gardens State Park after a night on the run from the law and park officials. Congratulations to him. And let's just take one more look at El Patron. Beautiful boy. Now we're moving on to number 4 here. The wayward bear who escaped from the zoo Wednesday night gave police and park personnel a run for their money during their search near the park and surrounding neighborhoods. Oh, see, it's a good thing I didn't throw that one. But this is absolutely befuddling to me. I have been a current Argus reader for many, many years, and I remember starting every school day, sitting at the breakfast table with my grandma and grandpa, reading the newspaper, and I had to have been looking at it in 1999, and I just do not remember. I have memory hold El Patron and his escape, and he does look guilty in that picture. He absolutely does, and you know what? He was guilty, and he shouldn't have been blamed for it. Why do I have that? Okay. Is this the right thing? Does this say the search? I'm gonna assume that it is the right thing. The search had actually been called off when sheriff's deputies spotted El Patron, and this is hard to read. I forgot to mention, this is unfortunately, the person who scanned the current Argus on this day, the day after the escape, they didn't scan it too good, so it's very blurry and hard to read. And so I did skip over a bit and just went to page 2, and we pick up the story. Oh, that's assistant director Doug, I believe, that I just heard. Park's latest acquisition arrived on Tuesday from the Black Gap area in Big Bend National Park, said Ken Britt, Living Desert Superintendent. So the superintendent of the zoo is saying that's when he got there, and you know what? I believe him. I have no reason to doubt Ken Britt yet. And this is... yes, okay. I'm getting used to this new setup. We'll get it. We got him through a cooperative agreement with the Texas Parks and Wildlife and the New Mexico Game and Fish Department, Britt said. Alright, so they traded him. They got him. He's a. Baxter says one of our greats, Ken Britt. I don't know if I've ever met Ken Britt, but I would not be surprised if I have. As I say, for some reason, a lot of my memories have faded, and maybe it's the scars in my brain. I'm not sure. Wait, hang on. Oh, here we go. Sorry. My bad. Britt said the bear was discovered missing from his exhibit area around 9:30 p.m. by park employees who periodically checked on him throughout the evening to make sure he was acclimating to his new surroundings. And good thing they did. I can't imagine what it would be like if they just left him roaming for hours and hours and hours, and the police weren't there to apprehend him. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go. About 1 a.m. Thursday, a resident of a neighborhood downhill from the zoo called a sheriff's dispatcher who said he had chased a big dog from his West Carlsbad backyard on Avenue C, and it was headed toward Avenue B. I have trouble imagining how you could make that mistake. It is a simple mistake, but to confuse a bear and think that it's a big dog, that's hard for me to wrap my head around. And I can wrap my head around many things. Let's not discount my power of imagination. A big dog. See, that's exactly what I said, Cinderoni. And you know what? I did forget one thing I was going to do is I was going to hang this up. New studio. It's trying to get used to it. Okay. Beautiful. Now it looks like a home in here. Okay. The man realized this was no ordinary dog when the animal jumped his fence. That's, again, hard for me to believe. I've seen a million dogs jump fences. And my vision isn't great, but I'm pretty sure on one of my hands somewhere I have scars from assisting a dog who tried to jump a fence. So it happens all the time. This is not a rare instance. I'd have to say the person who mistook a bear for a dog and thought that there's no way a dog could be jumping a fence is, I think they are out of their mind. What does Soy Teresa say? I don't know. A dog that looks like a damn polar bear, but still has a rarity. I thought having my chat huge was going to make it much easier for me to read and respond to what people say, but I'm not feeling it yet. Let's move on. Where are we at? We're at 15. Okay. Golly. I need this again. The chase was on, and deputies and police converged to begin their own search. Leading the posse was Mark Rosecker, park ranger who carried a tranquilizer gun. Alright, so Mark Rosecker is the Dr. Heinrich of this hunt, this endeavor to find a renegade bear. Oh, see, I was going to say, I bet Baxter knows who this person is, and I was not wrong. Baxter says Mark Rosacker, also a goat. And I wonder how my pronunciation is there. I'm sure it's miraculously accurate. Deputy Leon Newman said he and Ridgway decided to look a little while longer because they wanted to find the bear before school starting the following morning. The two had a few leads. Well, yeah, you should absolutely continue on to the I keep wanting to say largest, but large sloth lemur asks how Baxter knows this guy, and I will say, speaking for Baxter, Baxter knows everybody, so that's how. Brother Brink says Dr. Heinrich is his dad. Sloth lemur stranger. Absolutely. That helps. For networking purposes, if your father is the esteemed Dr. Heinrich. We kept hearing dogs barking in one specific area, he said. I don't know if I would take that as too much of a clue. I hear dogs barking in many specific areas, but I guess it's concentrated to one, and that makes it more of a clue. Where are we at? Okay. On their way back to the sheriff's department, deputies Newman and Ridgway were headed south on 8th Street when they spotted the bear at the intersection of Bonita and 8th Street. Soy Teresa says, I bet those dogs were losing their minds, though. Yeah. Cinderoni says, what an incredible thrill being called out in the night to find an escaped bear before the kids start coming out to school in the morning. Heroes. Absolutely. But I think we would be remiss to discount the fact that most of the cops just gave up at 3 a.m. and were like, it's fine. We'll go and get some rest and wake up in the morning and take care of the bear issue, whenever. I think that's a bit cowardly. I mean, no offense to, well, yeah, much offense. You should not rest if a bear is on the loose right by the school. Soy Teresa says, my neighbor in 1999 said they saw the bear. Lol. I had FOMO. Absolutely. Yeah, the cops are definitely need to go into the boo zoo. Actually, you know what? I do have a pen right here. Let me just, if you will excuse me, since we have the boo zoo up, onto the boo zoo goes Sleepy Cops. Alright. Had to do it to him. Sleepy Cops, you are now in the boo zoo. Alright. Yeah, maybe. Okay. Whatever. Now we're on to. Alright, I can see this. I swear I can. Alright. Boom. We were driving home, and Leon said, there it is. I didn't believe him. But it was running beside our car, Ridgway said. Now that is a brave bear. Not the most intelligent thing to do, but he didn't even care. He wasn't even trying to escape the cops. He was running right alongside their car. while the rest of the squad was presumably heading home to go sleep. Okay. It was quick for how big an animal. It turned and went through some fences. We had to do some good driving. Alright, newsflash to cops out there. If there are any cops watching this show, please know you should always do good driving. Not just when you're after a bear. It shouldn't be, oh, now we have to. I mean, come on. Be responsible. Please. Our lives are in your hands. Ridgway said the two really had no idea what they were going to do once they caught up with the animal. Again, you should have a plan for something like that. That's not... Soy Teresa... Okay, and she's responding to Cinderoni. Yeah. Soy Teresa could have been mauled on her way to school. That's why you don't go to school. Yeah, Soy Teresa, one of them does have a tranquilizer gun, but they still weren't exactly sure what they were going to do. And maybe that's the type of thing you should have a game plan for. I don't know exactly what cops get up to in their free time. Okay, what am I... Bizarre. Okay. Let me just squint here. Ah. After a brief chase, one of the officers used an air gun to frighten the creature into a tree in front of a residence at Vermont and 7th Streets. The people who live in the house never realized what was going on, Ridgway said. I don't know how you could miss that. There was a 300-pound black bear in your tree, and we were blowing an air horn and siren, and they were sleeping constantly. Well, beautiful. Good for them. I am happy for those people. I wish I could sleep like that. I don't sleep great, and I don't think that the police should be insulting people for their ability to speak. You're just jealous. I said it. Okay, this one looks like a picture button. Okay, yeah. And there's a editorial cartoon. This has to be a Carlsbad original. I should have looked up exactly what it is, but I do enjoy it. There is El Patron up in a tree, and the police are doing something. I don't know. So Teresa says, damn, I bet they had the FOMOs more than me. I wish I slept that good. Me too. And yes, so Teresa says, I like the artist's style. Good car shape for 1999. It really is. It's a beautiful comic. The lovely people at Cave TV who prepared this episode for me should have noted the artist's name and everything, because I remember them showing me that earlier, and I really liked it when I got a good look at it. I thought it was beautiful. Rosacker and a number of police officers were radioed and arrived at the tree. Most of the officers were amazed at the size of the beast. And again, you really shouldn't be. I understand that it's not your everyday thing to so Teresa says that's a big dog. But yeah, it's not every day that you're going to run into a bear while being a local officer serving Carlsbad, but you should have an idea that, yeah, this is a big animal. I cannot remember seeing a live bear in the wild and everything, but I have trouble believing that I would be surprised by the size. I would just assume this is going to be a big fool. And with those expectations, I would be all set. Okay, now we're here. Okay, I see where we're at. They were all shocked at the size, Ridgway said, who said his only other experience chasing animals as an officer involved deer. We didn't envision it being as big as it was. And again, I will say, you should have envisioned it. Come on. Give me your badge and your gun if you can't imagine a bear being big. Rosacker fired a tranquilizer gun at the bear. Finally. I mean, I'm on the bear's side, but I also don't want the bear eating any of my high school friends at the time. Soitrus says CPD needs to take more field trips to the living desert, I guess. Absolutely they do. I mean, what else they got going? Come on. Be serious. Okay. Wait, I did that one, didn't I? Yes, I did. I'm sure of it. Oh, no, I didn't. Tranquilized, El Patron eventually went to sleep and fell out of the tree. Oh, I don't like to hear that. He was loaded into the park's pickup and transported back to the park. I imagine that was an unnerving experience to load a bear into a pickup truck. I mean, sure, he's asleep, he's tranquilized, all of these things, but how could you not think at the last moment, you know what? He's about to wake up. I would be thinking that the entire time I picked him up, but he's only like 300 and whatever pounds, so maybe just a quick pickup just to throw him up there. Sheriff Chunky Click. Oh, and we got a picture. Beautiful. Sees it as an important lesson. All right, Chunky. What lesson do you see? Yeah, Soy Teresa, they better have put a mattress down for him, but Chunky, what lesson do you see here? Even bears don't mess with the officers in Eddy County, he said. Well, Chunky, those are some big words from a strange man. Okay. Now, we're moving on to a little bit down the road. January 10th, 1999. Brother Bing says, shout out to Chunky Click. I remember his elections when I was young. And the name for sure. When he was not the sheriff. Take that, Chunky Click. Wait, no, I wanted this one. This is January 10th, 1999. Spare the bear. Absolutely. Can you put Chunky Click in the boozoo? You know what? Alright. I've got to do it. No, wait. Almost lost my pen. Alright. New addition to the boozoo. Chunky Click. I've been thinking there needs to be a Chunky Click episode someday. Alright, Chunky Click, you are... Hang on. I know what I can do. This is for Chunky Click.
Welcome to the Boozoo, you bozo.
Welcome to the Boozoo, you bozo. Beautiful. Alright, what number am I at? Oh yeah. So we're doing the Spare the Bear. Yeah, Chunky Click episode. Soy Teresa says, I wish Pepito was here to draw Chunky and a bear for us. Golly. Well, that'd be incredible. Someday. He may be the boss, but El Patron is in the doghouse. Officials at the Living Desert have the wandering bear in solitary confinement until they can figure out his fate. Free El Patron. I don't like him being an ad seg. We encourage the zoo to keep El Patron. If that means reinforcing the bear exhibit area, then so be it. Is money a problem? Let us know. We'll personally pass out the collection plate. 100%. I think they are. Soy Teresa asks if they're going to avoid telling us how we got out. And I think absolutely they are, because they don't want to encourage more bears or animals to follow suit. That is my speculation. El Patron must live. Viva El Patron. Agreed. I think we're on to this now. Okay, yeah. This is the next article, I think. Living Desert plans to make bear exhibit escape proof by Stella Davis. And this is February 7th, 1999. Carlsbad. El Patron, the escape artist bear from the Living Desert Zoo and Garden State Park, continues to live up to his reputation as being smarter than the average bear. Of course he is. He's Carlsbad. In his temporary quarters at the Roswell Zoo, according to park volunteer Linda Frank. Thank you, Linda. Oh, wait. Where in the... Alright. I got my... They set up my thing wrong. Okay. So that should be... that one. Okay. And this should make it go away. Beautiful. Alright. The Living Desert officials don't want the Roswell Zoo people to become too attached to the lovable rogue bear and hope through public support he will be home soon. Absolutely. You know what? Roswell, you're not Artesia. You're not that bad, but you're still not Carlsbad, so I do not want you to try to keep our bear. He's beautiful, our beautiful bear. The Friends of the Living Desert Friends of the Living Desert, a booster club for the park, has established Save the Bear Fund at the Carlsbad Foundation for the public to contribute toward El Patron's escape-proof home at the living desert. Soy Teresa says, kind of odd to say they're making it bear proof. And then it kind of went away. Saying they're going to reinforce it kind of implies that it was pretty much a baby cave beforehand. Absolutely. Boo, Artesia. Absolutely. You know what? Alright, I don't have time, but Artesia, when I have time, you will be going on to the Boo Zoo. Just the entire town. For a contribution of $50, contributors will receive a Viva El Patron t-shirt and I helped save El Patron certificate. That sounds beautiful. Hold on just a second. Alright, much better. Had to get my... I need that shirt as well. But I do like my... This one is bootleg DIY. But I am here in support of El Patron. I've got my shirt now. I hope that was visible on screen, but I do not know. Where are we at? Okay. Once the exhibit is completed, experienced rock climbers and cavers will be given the opportunity to scale the rock wall and fence to see if they can get out. Oh, thank you, Cinderoni. You can see the shirt. Beautiful. Yeah, that is the way to do things. You have to invite the scalers and rock climbers. Who's the cave expert from last week's episode? Jim Goodbar? I hope he got in there. According to Rosacker and Ken Britt, park manager, El Patron's cleverness had exasperated Texas park officials. I'm sure Texas can't keep up with a bear like that. And there's a photo, I'm being told this is a photo of the scalers attempting to make sure that El Patron's exhibit home was escape proof. Soy Teresa says, I bet I could get out. 100%. No offense to El Patron. I love you. You are the best. But hey, maybe he got out a second time. I don't know. I haven't learned that much about it yet. Why am I keep getting so distracted? Oh, wait. So, what the heck? Alright, so I did that one. I read that one. I know I read it. I think I messed up hitting the buttons, but you'll forgive me. While still in the wild, he tried to open the front door of a trailer. When he found he couldn't break the door down, he went to a window, took out the air conditioner, set it on the ground, and then used it as a stepladder to get inside. Beautiful. That is ingenuity. That is, as can only be expected for such a glorious bear that is good enough to grace the premises of the Carlsbad Living Desert Zoo. And golly, actually, I was thinking at one point that we need to do a whole episode about the Living Desert Zoo. And I just didn't know that many great stories. But one thing I can share is that I was looking through the history of the Living Desert and I found a newspaper article, and my grandpa had told me that he helped suggest the name the Living Desert. But according to the newspaper article I found, he's basically the guy who named it. So that's pretty cool. That's in the family. Love you, Living Desert. Need to fully dive into your entire history at some point. But congratulations to El Patron. Taking out an air conditioner and using it as a stepladder. That is so sick. While in the trailer, he must have gotten tired because he dragged a mattress, pillow, and cover off the bed and took it to a screened-in porch where he spent the night. My God, El Patron, you were my hero already for your escape and your jumping fences like a dog and running alongside police cars, mocking them and things. But to hear of your exploits and breaking into a trailer and stealing a mattress to go sleep in, it's beautiful. You are an idol. Unfortunately, all we have is a list of enemies, our ops list, the Boo Zoo. But if we ever decide to make a list of heroes, maybe I could hang that over here. El Patron, you would definitely go on it. You are a hero to me. According to park officials, he was also a hungry bear. Of course. I mean, when you're that big, you gotta eat. I mean, who could blame the guy? He ate 6 cases of mouse and rat poison. Okay, maybe you shouldn't do that, El Patron. But hey, he did. He survived. And that was in Texas. That was before he even came to Carlsbad and rampaged through the town peacefully. It was a peaceful rampage. But yeah, that's a lot of rat and mouse poison to eat. I don't think you're supposed... You ought not do that. Park rangers believe he survived the forage because he also drank 2 gallons of vegetable oil. Okay. So that's the secret, I guess. I guess whenever I decide to start eating some various poisons and things of that nature, I just have to remember vegetable oil. That's your antidote. Cinderoni says, holy crap, him eating boxes of rat poison and living makes him even more of a legend. Absolutely. What a guy. I'm going to be wearing my El Patron shirt all the time. I'm very proud to represent. Yeah, okay. So our next story comes from February 18th, 1999. In the future, I wasn't sure exactly how this new studio that we're in would work, but next time I'm going to get, like, the thing I hit to press the buttons elevated, so it's like right up here just below camera, and I go click, 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 and I'm not having to bend over all the time. Can you imagine what a world it's going to be like when that happens? Can you imagine what it's going to be like when I get my shit together? February 18th, 1999, Sunset students raise money to help save El Patron by Stella Davis. And again, okay, so this is 1999. Sunset Elementary. I think I left Sunset Elementary in 1996, so I missed it by 3 years. Yes, Baxter, Sunset Scorpions, absolutely. I'm thinking, you know what? The classic middle school. We have the two middle schools in Carlsbad. We have AV, Alta Vista, the Demons, sick mascot, love that. And PR Leyva, the middle school I went to, and the mascot was the Mustangs. And I don't know. They should rename it the El Patrons. Or Los Patrons, I suppose. I don't know. But that's getting way off base. Carlsbad. Although they have never seen him, a bond has been formed between a class of fifth grade students at Sunset Elementary School and El Patron, the living desert and gardens escape artist bear. His spunk prompted the class to raise more than $100 for remodeling his exhibit at the park. Wait. Why is that? Okay. I don't know why I had... Yeah. Cinderoni, the Porky Leyva Patrons. I could see it. I don't know why I have this button set up out of place. I'm going to have to bring this up with the studio, the network, and let them know that they messed me up. So I'm going to have to remember to go back to that. I don't want that photo just yet. So we're going to move on past it to this one. The Bears' exploits, both in Texas and Carlsbad, have been chronicled in the current Argus. A challenge issued to the community to help the park raise $5,000 to remodel the Bears' living area was taken up by Lynn Picathely's 5th grade class. Now here's where I should have had this. I do not remember Lynn Picathely, but as a historian, I do recall in our circuses episode of a few weeks ago, we talked about, I believe his name was Al Picathely, the man who had the U.S.'s largest collection of circus paraphernalia. He had all the ads and the route books and the brochures and all of those things. So I'm assuming Lynn Picathely has to be maybe his daughter or something like that. But I was wondering why I do not remember her from Sunset. So I just did a quick Google on her name and I saw this. And this is the USA Today. And they didn't write this down for me on the card, so, but they were telling me about it, so I do remember. And yes, this is the USA Today, and it is talking about how Lynn Picathely was inducted into the Carlsbad Hall of Fame. And that's wonderful. We're going to find out more about why, I'm pretty sure. Okay. I'm just checking my time. Where are we at? We're at this one. Okay. On Tuesday, the class held a bake sale at school and raised $57.97 through the sale of cookies and cupcakes. Their teacher added to their sum with another $50. And that is just further proof that she should. Lynn Pitcaithley, you are very deserving of your place in the Carlsbad Hall of Fame. I want to know more about the Carlsbad Hall of Fame. I think that is a good place that this show should start researching. And I bet we'd find a million stories. But you know what I also bet? I bet there would be many things where I would say, how could this person not be in the Hall of Fame? How do you not have Doc Noss in there? How do you not have, Snaky Campbell? I'm sure it would be something that would frustrate me to no end, but I still would love to learn more about the Carlsbad Hall of Fame. I'm just a grumpy person. Very judgmental. For their effort, Living Desert Park manager Ken Britt, who we all know is the GOAT, one of the GOATs, presented the class a certificate Wednesday, naming them members of the Save the Bear Club, and another certificate to be cashed in for a free field trip to the park when El Patron returns to Carlsbad in April. Pitcaithley said the class had read of El Patron's exploits in the newspaper. Reading the newspaper is part of their classroom activities. That's beautiful. I wish I were in that class. I really missed out. I think I had Mr. Hayes. I don't know if Baxter had Mr. Hayes in 5th grade as well, but presumably. Again, my mind is gone, and that's just something I have to accept. I hang up the newspaper on the board in the classroom. I call the activity you know if you read it. We read what's in the paper that day and have a discussion. Baxter says he had Mrs. Lloyd. Okay. See, I think I'm trying to piece together the mysteries of history, and I think, yeah, we would rotate teachers for some subjects and everything, so I think I had the other two at one point, but that's not really pertinent to right now. Right now I want to talk about El Patron. What the hell? Okay. My class read this story about El Patron and that the Living Desert needed help in raising money to keep him here, Pitcaithley said. Student Alyssa Clifton said after reading the story about the bear, the class discussed the bear's gumption and decided to participate in the effort to keep El Patron in Carlsbad. Now that name really brought back memories. Alyssa Clifton. If memory serves, I don't think I've seen her in 2 decades, but I have fond memories. I remember Alyssa being a cool person. So I did some footwork and I tried to reach out to Alyssa Clifton, but I did run into a brick wall, and I was unable to reach her, and that is a shame. I know. Well, hang on. Where are we at? Alright. So, just so I know how to get back to it. Oh man, I was gonna play the boo sound effect for my failure to get Alyssa Clifton on this show, but I can't even find my boo sound effect. And Baxter says, shucks, that name is a blast from the past. Absolutely. But I did fail. However, I decided this is the story of El Patron. And Alyssa Clifton is somebody who had first-hand experience and knowledge of the events in question. Soy Teresa says she was very funny back then. I'm sure she is still funny. But yeah, it's a big flub on my part to not be able to reach her. So what I did was I outsourced and I asked the staff astrologist, Cinderoni, to put in some effort and attempt to get me in contact with Alyssa Clifton. And you know what? Cinderoni came through. And I did ask Alyssa about this story and about her being quoted in this newspaper article. And she had this response. Again, I wish the people at Cave TV would have written this out for me. Maybe I can get close enough to see what's going on. Okay, Alyssa Clifton says, I'll be honest. I think that article was maybe from the 4th or 5th grade class. That was a long time ago. I barely remember the bear escaping. So, well, thank you, Alyssa Clifton. And thank you, Cinderoni, for helping us get into contact with her. It's no... Golly, my brain is not doing great tonight. But it's nothing to be ashamed of or to feel sorry about. We all forget things. I don't even remember El Patron going on his journey through the streets of Carlsbad. So, but thank you, Alyssa Clifton, for at least attempting to remember this story. What button are we at? Okay, this is 62. We thought it was a good idea when Miss Pitcaithley suggested a bake scale. We have a blue box, and we collected loose change to put in the box. I grabbed too many cards. Okay. We started selling cookies and cupcakes to the 1st grade class and then to the others. Smart. They knew 1st graders, those are the ones that are going to come through and empty their pockets. By the time we got to the 5th grade, there were no cookies left for them to buy. Jeez. And again, I have to say, my grandma's cookies back in the day were some of the best. If only I had known about the sale and the efforts to save El Patron, it would have been beautiful. Soy Teresa says, oh man, I miss in elementary school when they'd sell chips and pickles and stuff. You know what, Soy Teresa? I miss that too. Okay, yeah, we got that. There were none left. Miss Pitcaithley said she would match up to $50 of whatever we raised. So we have $107.97, Clifton says. When it came time to present the money to Britt, the class chose Keith Philippi, who donated $12 of his own money to the cause. Congratulations to congratulations to Keith Philippi. I don't remember you at all, but that's another person I should have reached out to. I don't remember this person, but golly, it would have been great to. Cinderoni says, I am in HR now, and we do a fun thing for the office every month. One time I passed out pickles and popcorn on a Friday, and people lost their mind. I would lose my mind as well. I didn't do it for any special reason. I just thought it would help to get him back down here, Philippi said when asked why he gave so much. Because he knows a true hero like El Patron when he sees one. He knows. It's evident. We felt sorry for the bear. He's in a cage now. We want him to get back to Carlsbad, said Philippi's classmate David Saria. That's a name that does sound familiar. Wait. Okay. Uh-oh. There's the timer. I'm gonna have to continue. We're so close to being finished here. Soy Teresa says, I'm self-employed, so I pass out popcorn and pickles to myself 7 days a week. Ooh la la. We think El Patron has a lot of spunk. Not only did he manage to find a way to get out of his exhibit, but while in Texas, he ate a lot of rat poison and survived, Pitt Caithley said. Wonderful. That is admirable. Britt told the class that construction to remodel El Patron's home will begin next week. The park has received more than $1,700 in donation, in addition to donations of hand tools and rebar from 2 local businesses. That's beautiful. Yeah, you gotta write that off, Soy Teresa. When asked by a stranger if he likes El Patron, Britt replied, the night he escaped, and I went out looking for him, I didn't like him too much, but he's a special bear, and I thank you for your support of him. What's Soy Teresa say? That would be sick if they had a donation banners around his enclosure like a baseball field. 100%. Yeah, Britt, keep it to yourself. Replying to the question of whether their class could volunteer on remodeling El Patron's home, Britt said students under 16 years of age cannot volunteer at the park. And that is sad. Why do I have so... Okay. However, the class could adopt El Patron and donate foods a bear likes to eat, such as dog food and vegetables. I had no idea. Dog food and vegetables? I remember earlier in the episode they said he was in the dog house. Is that why? The night he escaped and headed into town, he possibly was in search of dog food, Britt explained. Soy Teresa says no rat poison or vegetable oil donations allowed. Oh, okay. I see what this is. Alright, we're closing things out. But this next thing I want to show you is a children's book that was written. I want to give him some salmon. So this is a children's book in honor of El Patron. Let's go. Says The Legend of El Patron. A True Story by Virginia Parker Stahl. Illustrated by Andy Ramone. El Patron's story tells the trials of a starving bear marked as a nuisance, the dedication of a wildlife researcher, and the commitment. Ultimately, readers will delight in the endearing true tale of this outlaw bear and how his story has become the legend of El Patron. Alright, that is it, and we're barely over time. Yeah. I do have access to a large amount of dog food, and speaking of dog foods, that just reminded me of our assistant directors to the show, Doug and Cobra. And I do recall an episode or two ago, I told everybody that I had a new way to call Cobra, and he seems to respond to it, and I didn't do it. So I'm going to try it real quick. I'm going to try to call Cobra into the studio. It worked. Love you, little man. Thank you. Okay. Beautiful. It's on the way. He arrived. Let me just take a quick glance. Alright. Okay, yeah. Alright. We're closing things out. We have our honorary invitation for a guest. And this week, invited to be on the show is Chesley Dark good God. Dark Farts says OMG Cobra. Absolutely. Did you hear that, Cobra? You got an OMG. Anyway, the honorary invitation for future guests. This one goes out to Chesley Sully Sullenberger. Sully, if you're watching this, you are hereby invited to be on the show. And our lyric of the week is... Okay, yeah. This one comes from the band called... He is a real hero. The lyric this week comes from a band called Grey Matter. And let me just make sure I can remember this. Oh, yeah. Can't let myself be restrained. Let perceptions be so torn. Kill confusion by killing options. Burn no bridges to stay warm. That is the lyric of the week. Next week, we have an exciting one. I've been told by the network, Cave TV, that they are unhappy with the fact that there have been a few lost episodes of the show. And one of those episodes that was lost to time is not archived anywhere. I don't have access to it. Nobody has access to it. Is an episode we did 1 year ago. Rodeos. There's just no... It's to the ether. It's gone. So, next week, we're going to be reviving it. Please, please join us as we dive into Rodeos, Part 2, on Caveman News. Alright, everybody. We're Dafu 1312. If you're here next week, then I will see you. trails to you. Happy 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 Happy trails to you. Happy trails to you. Happy trails to you.